What's going on, guys? Matty Ice here. Welcome back to another episode of Investing with Matty Ice. Bad news, guys. It's all over. The game's finished. Pack your stuff up. Go home. Get out while you still can. Bitcoin's about to collapse. MSTR, STRC, everything is about to collapse because Strategy just sold 3,588 Bitcoin for $216 million to fund their dividends. It must be over, according to the narrative anyways, for the past however many months. Once Strategy is forced to sell Bitcoin, it's going to bring Bitcoin down with them and everything's going to collapse. Wrong. The exact opposite is happening right now as I record this. Doesn't mean it will continue. All right. But the point is that it turns out that the market, the real world, does not give a shit if Michael Saylor or Strategy sells Bitcoin. It just doesn't. They just don't care. And it was very easily absorbed. $216 million worth of Bitcoin. I think it was like 1.2% of the average trading volume of Bitcoin in any one given day. I mean, Bitcoin trades billions of dollars every single day. This was nothing. The market very easily absorbed it. It's interesting. I had somebody comment saying, oh, he dumped 3,500 Bitcoin on you, and the price did nothing. It affected the price zero. In fact, it's rallying right now. So what are you talking about? Which is why, man, you guys, like sometimes you just got to turn off the social media, turn off the negative headlines. A lot of the times because it's not based on data. It's not based on any fact whatsoever. It's just opinion. It's like, where are you getting that narrative from? What data is that narrative coming from? And it doesn't point to anything. They were not forced to sell Bitcoin. They chose to sell Bitcoin to prove to the market that they're willing to use this massive war chest of capital, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin on their balance sheet to continue growing the company and to continue being a net accumulator of Bitcoin over the long run, which for some reason, people have just completely abandoned the long-term vision here and are only like, they're so fixated on the short term. It's very short-sighted thinking. They're looking at the short-term dilution and the short-term decline in Bitcoin per share, blah, blah, blah. And the short-term decline of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. And they put this narrative together that, they come to the conclusion that everything must be collapsing here very soon. It's like, not even close, dude. When you look at the balance sheet, they still have 843,000 Bitcoin. They're still their Bitcoin gain, their Bitcoin yield year to date is still 7.8%, which is positive. That's good. Okay. Yes, it's come down a little bit, but so what? So is the price of Bitcoin. Does a short-term pullback in the price of Bitcoin mean Bitcoin is failing? No, it's just a short-term pullback. Like these things happen. It just is what it is. It's a market cycle. Well, it's the same thing with a company, with Strategy. Right, they're navigating the market and the market environment right now. They are adjusting and evolving, I think, in a really positive way. And the market is responding very positively to what they're doing, which is why Bitcoin's not collapsing right now because they sold almost 3,600 Bitcoin. Nobody cares. And if you go back to like the S&P Global Playbook, I guess you could call it, one of the concerns, one of the reasons that they got that B- credit rating was because they've always made the claim that they're not going to sell Bitcoin. So if you have this massive amount of capital on your balance sheet, but it's locked up forever, you're never going to use it, then they can't value it. Well, now they can, because they just sold a bunch of Bitcoin to fund their dividend payments. That's very positive long-term for eventually getting into the S&P 500. Everything that Strategy is doing is to get into the S&P 500, from what I can tell. They're following the S&P Global Playbook. All right, so let me share my screen. Let's go through this. All right, it's just another reason why, you got to do your own research. To turn off the narratives, stop making decisions based on people's opinions, and make decisions based on facts, guys, and data. So Strategy, so from Michael Saylor here, Strategy has sold 3,588 Bitcoin for $216 million, which is nothing compared to the average trading volume of Bitcoin every single day. To fund dividends on digital credit securities, right? They hodl, I wouldn't say they hodl anymore, but they hold 843,775 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Absolutely insane. Now let's take a look at some of the numbers here. And if we go to Strategy's website, strategy.com, and click on purchases, you can see the SEC filings if you want to go through them. But I'll just take them at the word that they sold Bitcoin to fund the dividends. Actually, I went through one of them earlier. That's exactly what it was. All right. So right now, their Bitcoin yield year to date has come down. Originally, so like back in June, it was at 13%, and now it's down to 7.8%. People see that and like freak out. as if like this means it's the end of the company. This is the end of strategy just because there's short-term volatility. There's a short-term pullback in Bitcoin yield. It's still up 7.8% though. Like people forget that part. It's still up for the year, right? And like right here, the Bitcoin yield for the quarter so far is down 0.3%. But that's also, this has happened before, like last year and Q4, they were down 2.5%. But for some reason, it wasn't the end of strategy then, was it? And you can see how much it significantly increased over time. And of course, we had the volatility event with STRC. So their Bitcoin acquisition machine obviously came to a grinding halt. So they haven't been buying nearly as much Bitcoin. But so what? It's a short-term issue right now. And they still have an incredibly strong balance sheet. So like this whole thing about short-term, like the dilution of MSTR shareholders and the decline of Bitcoin per share. So we go to Bitcoin per share. Let's see. Bitcoin per share has come down. This was like 218,000 a couple of weeks ago. Now it's 210. Oh my God, it must be the end. Everything is collapsing. Like they're so fixated on the short-term decline of Bitcoin per share and dilution or whatever. Like who cares about the short term, guys? This is a long-term play here. Strategy is making moves based on like 4, 5, 10-year time projections here, like a 10-year time frame. They're not worried about any one individual quarter. They're making moves for the next 5, 10, 20 years, etc. So, but anyways, what's interesting about this is MNAV is back above 1 now. It was at like 1.09 earlier. Well, whatever, it fluctuates. I don't care. But the price of Bitcoin is actually up. It's not much. It's not up much on the day, but it was down a lot. Well, not a lot, but it was down like 2% earlier before the overall market opened, and then it rallied. Now it's back to 63,500. I'm sorry. Where's the collapse in the Bitcoin price? I thought as soon as it came out that strategy was being forced to sell Bitcoin, that everything was going to collapse. Where is it? And knowing my luck, maybe it happens tomorrow. I don't know, right? But obviously, the market is not concerned about it. Otherwise, I mean, we should be seeing a sell-off right now, and we're not. The market just does not care. MSTR is up, not much on the day, but it was down a little bit earlier. So now it's back above 100. STRC, baby, look at this. Back to above $90. I freaking love it. This is the lesson of the decade, in my opinion, of why not to panic sell and make decisions based on actual data. Because if I had panic sold my STRC, guys, I would be so pissed right now. I was down upwards of like almost 18,000. You know what? I'm just going to take you to my portfolio. Screw it. All right. Here's my STRC position. Look at this. Let me do a refresh so we can get an updated price here. All right. I was down almost $18,000 on my STRC position. Guys, I'm down 4,200 now, which still sucks, but it's getting back to par. It's on its way back to par from what I can tell. Like they've made the necessary adjustments and changes. They provided the necessary the guidance and clarity that the market was demanding. They increased the dividend. Now we're on semi-monthly dividends as well. Going to get that the first one for that next week. All right, so they're making all these moves, and the market is responding very favorably. So the whole narrative around strategy imploding is just falling by the wayside. It's on its last dying breath, in my opinion, at this point. Now, of course, if we see another pullback in Bitcoin, that will put a little bit more stress on things. But whatever, like I think they're proven to the market, to the rest of the world, that they're here to stay. Strategy is here to stay. STRC is here to stay. It's survived its biggest stress tests thus far. They still have access to the capital markets. They're willing to sell Bitcoin, and they're doing all of this right in the middle of a Bitcoin bear market. So if they can do all of this during a Bitcoin bear market, what are they going to be able to do during a Bitcoin bull market? Like, it's just going to be insane. So anyways, wanted to share that with you guys because I've been hearing for months now that at some point strategy would be they're going to be forced to sell their Bitcoin when their access to capital markets just dries up, which it hasn't. They literally raised $1.15 billion last week selling MSTR shares. So I don't know what you're talking about, but that was supposed to be the case when strategy sells and the market doesn't care. So always do your own research, guys, and make decisions based on data. All right. Don't even listen to me. Like, this is not financial or investment advice. I'm just sharing my journey, my thought process around this. Go do your own research. Go see the data and the facts for yourself, and then make a decision. All right. Turn off the narratives. Anyways, hope you guys are crushing it. Make sure you join the Facebook group to stay connected, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you in the next one. To your success. Matty Ice is out.